My favorite memories probably revolve around personalities, and there was two professors that were very important to me. One was Dr. Jimmy Barnes, who was the head of the marketing department, and the other was Dr. John McNamara. Dr. Barnes was far and away the best professor or lecturer I've ever been around. His classes were invigorating and made you feel excited about business. I think the biggest influences on my life were my parents. My mother, whom I learned what to do in life, and my father, who I learned what not to do in life. But they both loved me sincerely. But I think my humility comes from my Catholic education and my cultural background. My mother's family, the Casada family, was the biggest influence on me. We were immigrants from Mexico. The Casadas were all outstanding citizens and people, and they were not braggart or loud in any way. A lot of the mentors I've had as adults were very, very humble. Among the people that I always thought so wonderful and humble was Ray December, who was very important as a role model for me.
Ed is always a proponent of being fully present in the city or community that you're in. And so not only is he a graduate of Cal State Bakersfield and went on to work on his master's here, he really does have extreme passion for the university, and I know he especially has enjoyed working with Dr. Mitchell.
The role of this university is very important to our community, and I think Ed is representative of that group. He is also a leader within our alumni group and in the professional life of the city.
For me, my service to Cal State was always, selfish in the sense that I get to know these really smart people. They're kind, they're sometimes famous, and they get me good seats at events, and so all those things were great at Cal State.
I first met Eddie when we started playing popcorn and football together. Things didn't always come easy for Eddie. He was good at most everything, but good wasn't good enough for him. He had high expectations for himself, so he would do whatever it took. If he needed to get in better shape for sports, he would do it. If he in academics, if he needed to study harder, he would do that. In the leadership, he would do the learning and the research to find out how he could be a better leader.
Ed's most current adventure was when he took over ownership of a nonprofit child care center that faced closure if nobody would step in to assume it. I can remember when Ed came and met with me and laid the whole thing out for me, and I was excited for it because he was excited to get involved in something new and being around children and in families that the center was going to bring him.
He took the challenge on, I think, not only from I'm going to prove you and make this profitable, but also he knew that it was a significant impact to the community.
Ed definitely brought his professional experience to our committee discussions, but more important, he brought his passion for improving the health of our Bakersfield community, especially for those who are less fortunate.
Having a place like this is instrumental to the success of many of the children that attend here and to the community as a whole. And so I am just incredibly thankful that people like Ed, who serve in committees and in boards, make programs like this possible.
It has helped me a lot because I have improved in math and in writing.
It helped me with grades and academics and stuff like that.
Thank you, Ed, for everything you've done for us.
Ed does not want to have 13 committee meetings beforehand and 8 committee meetings afterwards. Ed likes to know what the task is, what we need to do, and go out and get it done. And oftentimes without any great recognition.
A real important time in my life was helping the Boys and Girls Club of Bakersfield really go from a make-believe club or one that wished it could do things to one that actually was a great club. That was done with a group of about 10 other people in the community. The friendships I made there have lasted ever since. An important friendship from there was Harvey Hall, who's a wonderful person and again one of the people that I would love to be like.
Ed Paine is just an enthusiastic doer, and whenever he gets his hands on something, it usually turns out to be an outstanding result, and that's what I've liked about him. He's just a good guy.
Our current location for this video is at Renegade Stadium. This is where Eddie and I, after leaving Burroughs High School, came to play football. There's 75 to 100 people trying out for the team. They keep around 50. They did everything they could to thin out the herd to drop it down to the 50. Eddie never gave up. Even though he didn't have the size, he didn't have the speed, but he had the desire, and he didn't quit. You remember that movie, Rudy? Well, we're gonna change that to Eddie, and we're gonna do the Eddie, 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 Eddie cheer.
Ed is a great dad. When the kids were little, he was self-employed and has always been self-employed, but so he could attend every event. He really pushed them to do their best. They all had to be in forensics in high school. That was a requirement because he wanted them to have the skills to be very successful. And he always asked of me that we treat them like adults from very young on.
While it obviously makes me feel very good, I'm very pleased, and it feels like a big thank you for a job well done. And it's really a cumulative thank you for all the years that I've worked. But it also shows that a person without any great accomplishments, without any great skills, without any great wealth or great power, can still contribute and do good things for their causes.